What is something that is supposedly a luxury but is actually worse than the regular alternative? Upscale hotels. I traveled regularly for work from 2006 to about 2017, going out every month or two for 2 days to 3 weeks at a time. Once I even left for 7 weeks, coming home every other weekend. One day in 2014 my work told me they would put me in a nicer hotel that I affectionately now call the Charlatan Inn. I forget its exact rating, but they advertised as a 5-star hotel and even had people who would stand outside bathrooms which had actual cloth towels you would dry your hands on. They charged extra for a fine dining breakfast. They wanted to have a bellop take my bag, which I declined. They wanted to add a fee to things. I'm sure somebody could have told me how luxurious the room and bed were, but while they were immaculately clean, the bed was uncomfortable and their 6,000 count sheets were hot and didn't breathe. Eventually I jumped on the internet, which appeared to have a paywall. It cost an extra $14 for each 24-hour period. Now I've seen such paywalls before, typically for a super speed option, and the slow speed is free, but there was no such option. I finally tried to call to find out about options, and they didn't know what I was talking about, so I decided to go to the front desk personally to inquire. When I got there they informed me that their data rate was correct. I tried not to be a Karen, but I couldn't believe they had no alternative. This was 2014, not 2007. Crap, even in 2006 I had free Wi-Fi at a rundown motel whose sink I could pull from the wall. They told me that this was standard for all hotels, and somehow my company must have paid for better Wi-Fi. I encouraged them to get out more because no chain I knew charged for their Wi-Fi. In the end, they gave me a 24-hour pass. I only ended up staying there one night, though I can't recall if it was because I finished or just couldn't stand it anymore and left. I now only do cheap hotels. The Wi-Fi is always free, the beds are passable, and the service always spectacular. And I never feel nickel and dimed at all. Valet parking. It's supposed to be so luxurious to just step out of the car, toss the guy in the red vest your keys, and walk away. But 1. It takes more time. When you're trying to get your car, it takes forever. Recently I stayed at a hotel with valet parking. They said to call 15 minutes before you need a car. Which is annoying in itself, but fine, I'll plan my day ahead. So I call, dutifully wait my 15 minutes, go down to the valet desk and wait. And wait. And wait and wait and wait. 30 minutes, my car finally pulls up. And now I'm late getting where I needed to go. It may be a time saver at the front end, you don't have to drive around looking for a spot or park blocks away, but sometimes even then you have to wait for the valet. 2. You can't easily get things into or out of the car. Forgot your reading glasses? Want to drop off a heavy shopping bag? Sorry, your car is somewhere else. 3. You're relinquishing control of your keys. My car key is big and clunky and doesn't come off the chain very easily, so I have to give all the keys to the valet. For me, walking around without my keys in my front pocket is like walking around without pants, weird to do in public. 4. Valets move the car seat, fiddle with the radio, etc. I set these things up precisely, leave it alone. And there's the risk that the valet is going to smash your right into a wall or another car or whatever. 5. Often costs more than self-parking. Also, you have to tip the valet, and I rarely have small bills on me. Give me self-parking any day. What is something that is supposedly a luxury but is actually worse than the regular alternative? I've worked in retail most of my life, and there's a dirty little secret that the major department stores don't want you to know. Do you want to know what it is? In the United States, when you walk into a department store such as Macy's, Nordstrom, Dillard's, Belk, or Neiman Marcus, you're virtually guaranteed to see what is known in the business as the big three cosmetics lines: Estee Lauder, Clinique and Lancome. You'll also see other brands such as Dior, La Mer, MAC, Bobbi Brown and Tarte. But here's the secret, or at least one part of it: many of these brands are corporate cousins, which are brands owned by the same parent company. Just look at what the Estee Lauder Companies Incorporated, which is headquartered in New York, owns according to Seeking Alpha. Estee Lauder, Aramis, Clinique, Prescriptives, Lab Series, Origins, MAC, Bobbi Brown, La Mer, Donna Karan, Aveda, Jo Malone, Bumble and Bumble, Darphin, Flirt, Goodskin Labs, Ojan, Smashbox, Erin Beauty, and Osiao, along with licenses to market other personal care products under the names of Tommy Hilfiger, Donna Karan New York, DKNY, Kyton, Michael Kors, Tom Ford, Coach, Dr. Andrew Weil, Ermenegildo Zegna, Marni, Aaron, and Tory Burch. As you can see, what you may have thought was being special through exclusivity is really not. Different packaging, some tweaks to formulas and more importantly, different marketing to specific market segments are what set these brands apart, not that any one is better than the other as they're all made by the same company. Now as for Lancome, what do they own brand-wise? Nothing. Why not? Because Lancome is actually owned by consumer products giant L'Oreal, based in Paris, France. You may recognize L'Oreal for their cosmetics found in mass merchants such as drug and grocery stores and big box stores such as Target and Walmart. They also produce products under the following names: Lancome, Maybelline, Kiehl's, Urban Decay, NYX, La Roche-Posay, YSL, Biotherm, Diesel, Ralph Lauren, Victor and Rolf, It Cosmetics, Garnier, Carol's Daughter, Essie, Dermablend, Ambi and many more. In fact, just 7 companies own 182 brands you're familiar with and probably use every day. L'Oreal, Johnson & Johnson, Shiseido, Estée Lauder, Unilever, Coty and Procter & Gamble. So do you see where I'm going with this? The big fancy department store cosmetics are made by the same companies that make your cheaper ones you find in your neighborhood store. What you are primarily getting from the high-priced brands is a wider array of colors, personalized service by trained salespersons, and in some cases, but not all, a higher quality of ingredients used in the cosmetics, as lower-priced ones may use more synthetic ingredients versus natural ones. The bottom line on all of this is that from a financial standpoint, you're in most cases much better off going with the company's non-department store brands, and not too many people may notice the difference. Unless, of course, you're intentionally trying to show off the brand you use. Sit-down well-decorated restaurants. You have to go sometimes make reservations wait in line, and everybody that works there is so pretentious because it's their job. A job most hate. They pretend to be nice to you. Don't you feel awkward making that person work for your tips? When really they can't stand you. Food is made by strangers in the back kitchen, often drug addicts that prefer that type of schedule or unclean long hair and tattoos people one step away from the street, and then served to you on a plate that's been sitting out and change hands with hostesses, cashiers and others who handle cash, clean bathrooms, and touch other people's plates, recently used, all seriously overpriced. Even if you don't cook, you'll be more comfortable and satisfied home in the comfort of your own surroundings, dressed how you want, sitting at a little table or even front of the TV eating something simple. And if you can't even make something simple, THST isn't loaded with MSG or comes from a box, then log off Facebook, put down your phone and get off your fucking ass and try. That way you'll learn. Or you can go through everything I just mentioned here for microwaved crap and pretend you don't feel ripped off while you're taking selfies with your friends and pictures of your dinner plates to post on Instagram or Facebook. Fancy food, most of it is just a luxury because it is rare, not because it is good. For example, caviar. I don't think really rich people eat it every day. I don't think it is in the top 10 things they like to eat every day. Regular alternatives. Any other fish, lobster, also sort of expensive, or some meat. But caviar is just a show-off food that people eat because it is fancy and that actually needs to be washed off after eating. All those luxury pizza or vegan alternatives, tofu, bacon. Some of those are really expensive and tastes like SHT. I really don't think there is a rich person in the world been away from their home place and say, you know what I really miss? This fancy food. Related to food, waiters, some people may like it, but I hate having a waiter standing right behind you hearing everything you say. Or interrupting you every time you take a sip of your cup. I do hate having to catch a waiter and make signs for 5 minutes so they can see me. But a middle point can be true: stand over there. Or better yet, you can sit down over there. You can even chat with other waiters, just pay attention when we need something. I fly often and eventually accorded gold status by the airline alliances, which in some airports, there are some check-in, security and immigration queues, especially for priority passengers. The fault lies in that ground service agents or sometimes airport authorities do not provide the service standard as mentioned by the airline. So this is what frequently happens during check-in: 1 or 2 priority check-in counters, 10 regular check-in. Priority check-in counters don't get passengers all the time and may process group check-ins. Ended up I have to queue to wait for the check-in counter to process 20-30 passports. When I told them that the point of priority is such that I need not queue as long, their reply was that I should be patient and wait for my turn. To be fair, however, there are some cases where supervisors will arrange that I will be attended by the next available agent. During immigration, the priority queue is more often than not the same queue for diplomats, crew, limited mobility passengers. At times crews are allowed to clear first, and sometimes you may have crews from 5-6 flights at this queue, and thus it might be faster to use the regular queue. Other times, when the airport is normally not busy and the priority queue is not even staffed, you might be first in line, but immigration officers will just ask you to join the regular line and make no arrangement to be attended to next. Parcel deliveries. Where I live, the ordinary postal service is much better than every private company I have ever used. FedEx, DHL, Chronopost, UPS, you name it. All of those companies have done stupid things with my packages, including losing them, not delivering them for ridiculous reasons like incomplete address, when the address is in fact complete but not standard. Most frequently of all, they either put a note in my mailbox tried to deliver, but you were not home, which is a total lie as I was home waiting all morning, or else even worse, they send me an email with note left in your mailbox when there is none. It's usually impossible to get through to them on the phone. Once my husband impatiently typed random digits when the automated voice said please enter your code. Now we had been given no code, and by magic, this technique produced a human being on the other end who claimed that our package had an address, but no name on it. Tracking just shows nothing, as often as not. Whereas the regular post is speedy and efficient, and if you're not home, there really will be a note in your mailbox, and your package will be waiting for you in the nearest post office. Part of the reason is the final part of the delivery that consists in placing the package into people's hands or mailboxes. The local postman women know each building, have a passkey to get into the mailbox area, and they actually know a lot of the individuals, too. Ours knows exactly where to hide parcels in our garden for us. It makes a huge difference.